Hello, everyone. It's been a while. Talking about consistency. Consistency is on my to-do list too. Yeah, on things to improve on. I made myself a promise I was going to be doing videos every day back to back. I don't know how those content creators do it, but uh, mm, well, it's better than nothing at all. So, brotherly. Brotherly. Have you seen the movie To Kill a Monkey by Kemi Adetiba? If you haven't, it's streaming on Netflix. It's a series, but I tell you, you'll be glued to your seat once you start watching. And this is no paid promotion. It's just a movie I watched and I enjoyed, and I feel like let me share my review. It's not a detailed review, to be honest. hmm so it's a movie about the one of the key characters in there, Ife, a very innocent. I actually think the To Kill a Monkey was coined from To Kill a Mockingbird, which is a metaphor for mockingbird being an innocent creature. So a metaphor for polluting something innocent. But yeah, I think that's why how where they coined, because I did a research to find if there's anything like To Kill a Monkey, to be honest, in terms of maybe a Chinese idiom or an African proverb or something like that, but there isn't. But it's about a innocent guy. Actually, go and watch it. I'm not sure if I'm meant to tell you the whole story because there won't be any point watching. So go watch it and then maybe come back and watch my video. But I love it. For me, I would rate the movie 10 out of 10 because it speaks about our society in terms of, we're quick to judge as much as I don't like us being in the news for bad things, especially fraud. I mean, my country. Um, um, if you also, so it's easier to judge people that are into fraud. I don't support it in any way still, and I like the way the movie ended, even though I feel like life was so cruel um, to Ife, but it makes you think like this guy tried all his best. He was struggling. He tried very hard working guy, innocent, not streetwise. He worked hard and hard, but the harder he worked, the more his problems multiplied. So he was kind of, he had no choice, because of the responsibility of, raising a family. He's got a mom sick that eventually died, and all of that. So he succumbed to, doing fraudulent stuff. And this is a very gifted, talented guy, he's very good in tech. Again, he didn't have the opportunity to use his skills in a legit way. So as fate would have it, he met an old school boy that he had saved his life once, and then the boy is into Yahoo. Again, go Google that if you don't know what it is. um and he kind of said he was going to help him, and that's how the journey started. So it's easier to judge and say, oh, he shouldn't have done it, but that guy suffered. He suffered, and this is where I get to know that me. I take spiritual things seriously, because when he was doing all the suffering, at the point I blotted out like, this guy can't pray. But of course, I know, Kemi Adetiba didn't intend for that to have any kind of faith, in terms of faith being, religion, Christianity or Islam in it. So, but I was like, if life is that hard for someone, that should drive you to your knees and you talk to God, and there will be like a course correction. That's what I believe, to be honest. But yeah, it wasn't about faith. But because I feel like, actually, let me introduce faith in here, even though it's not a religious movie, but I feel like the way he suffered, maybe if he had sought God for direction, for help, I feel like he would still have met Obos, you know. However, the pressure to join, the gang or the fraudulent group would not have happened. Even if it happened, he wouldn't have gone that route. Maybe your boss would just be kind enough to give him, maybe introduce him to a friend that is influential, that knows someone that can get him a job, or maybe even give him a huge amount of money to set up his own tech business. So let's not underestimate the power of prayer. And I'm not God, I'm not the one that decides outcomes. I know even sometimes that I personally have prayed on matters and they still didn't turn out the way I wanted. But the way things eventually turned out still worked out in my favor, in my good, and for the benefit, for my benefit. And but I feel like the fact that he didn't seek God, that kind of led to a dark tunnel. Um, so the lesson again is, I don't want to bore you with it again. I want you to go watch it. Um, these are the people that he sacrificed everything, his integrity. He risked his life. He just wanted to be responsible. He wanted to be a responsible husband. He wanted to be a responsible father. He wanted to be a responsible friend. But unfortunately, he ended up suffering badly. Now, if he's not a saint, he had his faults when he had an affair. Not because I'm a woman. I just feel like, guy, you're not getting your priorities right. Your house is on fire and then you're going about to another woman's house. That's not the time for that. But we are not all perfect. He made a silly decision. I felt if he had gone back home and, confessed to his wife, they would have been able to forge a way forward. So the fact that he left that back door opened, through going to have a mistress, that was the one that they used actually to bring him down in a way. So for me, I just feel like, when people do bad things, maybe fraud or any kind of illegit stuff, and they do it and they say, oh, it's because of my family, it's because of my children, I don't want them to suffer, that's why I'm doing this. Go and watch that movie. Even if his daughter was one of those that testified against him in court, she hated him. There's the venom coming out of that girl's mouth, the hatred, just because if it was against her having an affair with Obos, which is his crime partner. So you see, those people you want to kill yourself for, they're the one actually cursing you and telling you that you failed as a father. He suffered. That guy suffered not just physically, mentally, emotionally. So don't ever do anything and justify it that it's because of someone or family or someone you love. That's why you're doing that. When things go the other way, they will be the first one to tell you you have failed. All right. So that's one lesson from there. Another part, you see that betrayal part when Ife, did that Judas Iscariot script. You know how Judas Iscariot gave Jesus a kiss to sell him to those that were going to kill him. That part paid me. I had to rewatch it over and over again. And I think because I'm a very loyal person, I'm not perfect, but loyalty is one of my key core values. The price of my loyalty is high. It's very, very high. So when people are disloyal, it's sometimes an unforgivable sin, to me. So I have watched it many times. I was like, I almost cried. If not that, I think I did shed a tear. You know, Obos could not believe himself. Like, what? He was still saying that, stand behind me. He was holding his jazz and then a knife or something. He said, I'll protect you, brotherly. Stand behind me. Do you know that that's the person that actually gave him out? Now, I don't pray anybody be in that situation. But that's one of the things I've learned in life. Again, I didn't learn this early, I learned it later because I'm also one of those people that can be loyal to a fault, you know. I'm one of those people that I feel give person my leg and say, okay, how do we walk out of this place? But I had to learn also the hard way. So the reality of life again, what's that the lesson from that scene is like every man for himself. All right, that's how people survive even in the animal kingdom. People will always choose themselves over you many times. I don't pray we ever find ourselves in a situation where our loyalty will be tested, but I think if it wanted, though, I feel greed entered into the equation with him. Greed him from when he started adultery with that Ogbanji girl, that yellow girl. And, again, he felt maybe he could sidetrack Obos and maybe make more money with teacher. Um, but, I think 90% if he was a good man, genuinely, and he also loved Obos, but he needed to choose his life and his family over Obos. I remember Obos too, though he loves Ife. Obos loves Ife, but he was just someone that talks anyhow, and that's actually he had said some things that broken Ife's heart. So things like, oh, I picked you out from poverty, I made you rich. So over time, I feel that actually Obos didn't like, he felt like, well, I'm not going to deal with that anymore. So when the opportunity came, he didn't jump at it. It was painful even when he did it. Remember the story of Judas Iscariot in the Bible? Judas Iscariot actually committed suicide just for giving Jesus up. So even though he was tempted, he took money to do it, he regretted his action. And that's the cost of betrayal for some people. So he was mad. It's a very lovely, it's a masterpiece. Kudos to Kemi Adetiba for doing that. So again, that lesson, it hit hard. That betrayal part, my God. So yeah, everybody will have to choose themselves, but it was sad that if he had to wait till that point to know how Obos loved him, even with his life, and even while he was being attacked, his priority was to protect his brother. But unfortunately, the brother has already given him out. Another lesson is don't make a deal with the devil. I think because if he wasn't street smart, so he was fooled and thought that he could cut a deal with a teacher, not knowing that he will keep coming for more. So that's another thing. But in all of this, it just shows that life can be cruel, and some people are genuine, they are good people. That's an example of why bad things happen to good people. Um, Again, another lesson is we should just take it easy on ourselves. There's what they call chain reaction. What you do impacts someone else and impacts and causes that ripple effect. We should just be kind to each other. I think I'm going to finish on that note. We should be kind to each other. Anything we do, the way we speak to one another, the pressure we put on each other can lead people to do things that they don't want to do. How will I finish this without talking about Idia? Idia is my favorite character. As you can see, me, I'm not like an Idia in real life, but I love that lady. She's one of those ride till you die partner you can have. So loyal to her husband. She knows the husband's flaws. Like this one, yes, can run around town with girls, but he's coming back home to me. That self-assured queen, that gangster queen that can run an empire even when the Don Chichi is gone. That's Idia. I love her. I love all Money Miss Road dressing, all the gold and jewelry and all of that. And the fact that they couldn't kill her, you know, when she went to the spa, remember they couldn't kill her. At that point she said she used her long nails and poke it in the killer's eye. I love, Idia. Anyway, I'll leave you to go enjoy the movie if you haven't. And yeah, I'll catch up with you guys next in my next video. I hope you're able to get some lessons from this. Again, if you haven't seen it, it won't make sense, and doesn't matter, where you're watching this from in a different part of the world. I give that movie 10 out of 10, 5 star. Go watch it. Is what's every minute on Netflix. Kill a Monkey. All right, bye.